So in this section we are going to discuss about the bunkering checklist. It is one of the very important operation as well, and a very favorite question as well. So we'll be seeing that pre-bunkering, post-bunkering and during bunkering, what are we are supposed to do. Now when we talk about bunkering checklist, so bunkering is a critical operation and requires planning and preparation beforehand. So because as per Marpol, any oil spill if comes in picture, that is going to create a very uh, uh, difficult and very tricky situation, and companies have gone bankrupt paying the penalty altogether. So preparation and checks are done with the help of checklist. So we have a bunkering checklist. Basically in SMS manual you will find it. Checklist can be divided in four parts, that is pre-arrival checklist, checks prior to arrival in bunkering port. Then we have pre-bunker checklist, then which is checks prior commencement of bunkering. And then we have during bunkering checklist, that is checks during bunkering. And then we have post-bunkering checklist, that is important checks after completion of bunkering. So these are four category that we are dividing, that is pre-arrival checklist, pre-bunker checklist, and then we have during bunkering checklist, and then we have post-bunkering checklist altogether. So with this we move on to first topic, that is pre-arrival checklist. And then when we talk about this pre-arrival checklist altogether, that is preparation of bunkering plan. So we plan a bunker plan. Normally fourth engineer and trainees, they are involved altogether, and oiler as well, they all are involved along with chief engineer, that we are finding the sounding of all the tanks, and we also say there is no homogenizing, there is no mixing of bunker. Okay, so we empty the tank, we decide which all tanks has to be filled and how much quantity we are going to take, total quantity, and where to fill. So that is in bunkering plan. Then we have in this we have sounding checks, then we have internal transfer to avoid mixing, and we do list trim consideration, then we contact the bridge, and then we take the list and trim. Tank filling sequence decided, so in which sequence we are supposed to take so that stability is maintained. Then we have maximum safe filling level decided, so at what maximum safe limit that we are supposed to fill. Some tanks are supposed to fill 80%, 85%, 90%. So likewise, so what is the total capacity and what is the 80% calculation that we are supposed to fill, and in which sequence we are supposed to fill it. Now, crew are familiarized with duties and responsibilities. There's oiler, there's chief engineer, then one officer, and then we have AB as well. A fitter is also there who is connecting the pipe. Then we have bunkering system. Fourth engineer is taking sounding. Then oil spill response procedure and equipment. That is, we have SOPEP equipment ready. And what is the procedure if in their case there is a oil spill? And if what are the equipments? Then we have important checks, which is like save all, drip tray, drain plugs available for plugging, so we are plugging it all together, all the drip trays. Visual inspection of piping for corrosion, try out open shut operation for all bunkering valves. We are opening and trying to shut because there may be a chance that the valves may not shut. We have bunker tank high level alarms, overflow alarms tested, so we need to test all these alarms because sometimes we may not totally rely on sounding only altogether, it may get wrong. Drip sampler and sampling kit ready is to be done because we are doing it drip sampling at the connection where the pipe is connected, the connection manifold on altogether. Then we have pre-bunker meeting, that is bunkering plan discussed. So where after preparation of this bunkering plan, this with a bunkering plan that we're preparing, and all these things are done, and then we are discussing in the bunkering plan in which sequence we are going to take, how much we are supposed to fill, where the person has to be there, so and so on. Now pre-bunker we also do some checks between ship and the barge. So barge moved to ship, Then we have meetings between barge master and chief engineer. They decide what quantity is there and how you're supposed to start slowly, at what pressure and all these things are discussed. Bunker delivery note, BDN in correct format available with barge master. So BDN is checked, and then we in BDN you find what is the grade of oil, at what viscosity. Viscosity without temperature is of no use. So certain centistoke, that is CST, at what temperature. So all these things are checked in BDN. Material safety data sheet, that is MSDS, that is also handed to the chief engineer. In MSDS, if you find what are the hazards associated with, what is the grade of the oil, water component, what is its chemistry, what is its physical properties, chemical properties, how it is going to react, what are different hazard associated with it, how to handle it. So all these things are given in MSDS. If there is a casualty because of that particular thing, then how to handle that also is mentioned there. Then we have quality certificate copy handed over to chief engineer. We have quality certificate which is handed over to the chief engineer. Then we have communication procedure and emergency shutdown procedure discussed. What has to be the mode of the communication and what channel we are supposed to get. The VHF is there, very high frequency, that is walkie talkie, and then we set the channel, we cross check it. So emergency shutdown procedure, signal has to be established and all those things. What has to be the initial flow rate, maximum flow rate and maximum delivery pressure agreed, because there are chances that pipeline may burst. We are not supposed to. Also that air may also come into picture. Now we also have initial barge tank soundings and calculations witnessed by ship's representative. We have initial barge tank soundings and calculation witnessed by ship's representatives. When we do checks on ships, that is pollution prevention checks, save all and drip trays plugged, deck scrubbers plugged, oil spill response equipment ready near manifold. Then we have copy of bunkering plan and bunkering diagram at the manifold. We have safety checks, that is portable fire extinguisher near manifold. We also have no smoking near sign manifold. We do have red flag hoisted daytime, red light daytime we have red flag, and red light nighttime on, indicating bunkering operation is going on. We have operational checks, that is bunker hose connected with drip sampler sandwiched between hose and manifold. Then we have bunker valves lined up, manifold valves open. Okay, now when the bunkering is going on, then we are supposed to have these things. The bunkering is commenced at slow rate, there's no leak is confirmed. We check all the manifold, pipelines all together, valves, no leak is there. Check soundings to confirm filling of designated tank. We are supposed to take sounding of designated tank, yes, that the tank valve which we have opened, that is only is getting filled, and we have confirmed no increase in sounding of non-designated tanks. We have confirmed no increase sounding in non-designated tanks. Then we have flow rate increase to maximum. So we have flow rate which is supposed to increase to maximum. Then check maximum line pressure. Then we have regular soundings. We are supposed to take regular checks for any leaks, mooring checks, then sample collection by drip sampling from start to end. Then we have changeover tanks as per bunkering plan. Then we change over the tank. Now when we talk about these things, that post bunkering checklist, so what are supposed to final quantity confirmed by the calculation. So we are supposed to do the final quantity calculation. Then we have drain bunker line by compressed air blow. We are supposed to blow through the line. Then we close manifold valve, disconnect hose and blank manifold. So we blank the manifold. Distribute collected sample in 4 sampling bottles and seal samples. So you may be knowing that what are 4 sample bottles. One is for the barge master, one is for the ship, one is the marpole sample, and one is for the lab. One bottle for ship's normal retention, okay, one we retain on the ship, one for the ship's marpole sample, one sample to barge, and one sample for laboratory testing. So these are 4 samples that we are supposed to take. There are sampling bottles, and we are doing it types of maybe if you want, then I can also be covering about the types of sampling that we are doing. There is a drip sampling, drip continuous sampling. So, okay, all these things are there. Now, then we talk about the DDN signed by both parties and copies handed over to chief engineer. So bunker delivery note is signed by both the parties and copies is handed over to the chief engineer. Then we have entry about bunker delivery in oil record book. We are supposed to make oil record entry of this in the oil record book. I have already covered a video on what are entries are to be made in oil record book part 1 and part 2, that is machinery space and cargo space. You can watch that video. Okay, so these were the things that we are supposed to do that during the bunkering checklist, that is pre-bunkering checklist. Okay, what we are supposed to do, and then we have pre-arrival checklist. So before arriving only we are doing some checklist, and then after arriving we are doing some pre-bunker checklist, during bunkering checklist, and then we are supposed to do post-bunkering checklist. So I hope it is clear for you all. And so we with 2-3 questions all these procedures may be asked to you, or they may also be asking about drip tray plugs, save oil trays, okay, and all those things, red flag, and these are very important thing. What are 4 samples that we are keeping? Okay, thank you so much.